Bones is on his practice out lap. 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 Stefano Amadei is on his practice out lap. Stefano Amadei is on his practice out lap. Bones is getting to grips with the ASRO Legends car in this practice session. Bones is in the S's. There are just over 5 minutes left in this practice session. Stefano Amadei is on his practice out lap. Stefano Amadei is on his practice out lap. Bones has a best lap time of 1:40.583. Bones has a best lap time of 1:40.583.
Bones is not giving up and will be looking for every 10th.
Stefano Amadei is on his practice out lap. Stefano Amadei is on his first practice flying lap. With just 3 minutes left before we move to qualification. There is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Bones posted 1:39.984 on his last lap, and will be pushing hard for an even lower time.
The time clock can be a cruel mistress that is all too willing to show you your faults.
Adam just posted a 1:37.139 crossing start finish.
If there is still time on the clock, there is still time to improve.
Adam has a best lap time of 1:36.292. Adam has a best lap time of 1:36.292.
There is always more time to be found, but Adam is not guaranteed to find it.
Simon of the Desert posted 1:40.651 on his last lap, and will be pushing hard for an even lower time.
Simon is not giving up and will be looking for every 10.
With just 1 minute left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations.
The time clock can be a cruel mistress that is all too willing to show you your faults.
David just posted a 1:39.048 crossing start finish. David Zahn has a best lap time of 1:38.398.
If there is still time on the clock, there is still time to improve.
David Zahn posted 1:39.048 on his last lap, and will be pushing hard for an even lower time. With just 0 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Bones just posted a 2:57.826 crossing start finish.
There is always more time to be found, but Bones is not guaranteed to find it.
Simon of the Desert has a best lap time of 1:40.651. Bones has a best lap time of 1:39.984. With just 0 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Stefano Amadei posted 1:38.404 on his last lap, and will be pushing hard for an even lower time. Asadik Streaming is on his practice out lap. It's all about strategy in these early moments. David Zahn is taking his time to prepare for his qualifying run and get everything just right.
It's all about finding that balance between staying calm and focused, while also pushing the limits.
David Zahn appears focused and prepared driving through the keyhole. David Zahn is expertly commanding that car through the S's. This is where the mental game comes into play. Sketty is taking his time to prepare for his qualifying run. That ASRL Legends car looks good driving through rolling start line.
There's not much better than sitting near here and watching the cars speed by.
It looks like Bones is getting ready to make his move. He's taking his time to warm up those tires. Bones crosses the start-finish line at the end of his outlap. Bones is working his way through the keyhole. You can feel the tension building. Simon of the Desert is out on track and getting ready to push for his qualifying time. Simon of the Desert is looking relatively composed going through the S's.
The ASRL Legends car is indeed a sweet-ass looking ride.
Simon of the Desert is driving through Thunder Valley.
When I get some free time after the race, I'm going to park my pudding near Thunder Valley with a nice drink and some friends.
It's all about precision. Adam has completed his outlap. The pressure is on in this as David Zahn completes the outlap. He will be hoping there's enough space on track to fully attack on the flying lap. Bones will be looking to use this first hot lap to set a solid time in the standings. This is what it's all about. Simon of the Desert is putting everything he's got into this qualifying session. There are just over 10 minutes left in this qualification session. Adam is currently up 0.17 going through the S's. Simon of the Desert is on his first flying lap. It's all about precision and speed in qualifying, and Adam is nailing both.
Let's see if he can put a good marker down.
Adam completes his lap in a time of 1:36.453, currently in P1. The pressure is on in this qualifying session, but Simon of the Desert is rising to the occasion.
It's always impressive to see a driver in the zone like this, Marco. Let's see.
Simon of the Desert has completed that flying lap in 1:38.545, which is good enough for P3. down 2.092 to the leader. Sketty will be looking to use this first hot lap to set a solid time in the standings.
It's certainly exciting to watch. But let's not forget, the goal is to secure a good starting position for the race.
This is what it's all about. Stefano Amadei is putting everything he's got into this qualifying session.
Absolutely. Stefano is showing the world what he's made of.
Stefano Amadei has just completed that lap in 1:38.503, which is 2.05 off the best time, putting him in P3. Sketty has improved by 0.28. Sketty appears focused and prepared driving through rolling start line.
Fans sitting near rolling start line get some of the best views of the action.
Sketty has improved by 0.65 up through Thunder Valley. Sketty will be happy, with a time good enough for 5th in this qualifying session. David Zahn is in the green by 0.14. That ASRL Legends car looks good driving through the S's. David Zahn will be happy, with a time good enough for 2nd in this qualifying session.
It may be difficult for him to find that missing 1.38.
David Zahn will be happy, with a time good enough for 2nd in this qualifying session. Bones has some work to do, as his best time of 1:39.225 is only good enough for 6th. Bones is driving through the keyhole and is up 0.65. Bones is expertly commanding that car through the S's. Bones is keeping his head down through Thunder Valley.
Fuel, fumes, fans, and fights, Thunder Valley has it all.
Bones will be happy, with a time good enough for fourth in this qualifying session.
Every fraction of a second counts. He is surely working on that 1.816 gap to pole.
Achi is now up 0.1. Achi is looking relatively composed going through the keyhole. Stefano Amadei is driving through rolling start line. David Zahn has found an extra 0.19. David Zahn will be happy, with a time good enough for second in this qualifying session.
It may be difficult for him to find that missing 1.268, but that won't stop him from trying.
Sketty is in the green by 0.32, making his way through the keyhole.
Sketty needs all the focus and resolve he can muster to maintain this pace.
Achi is in the green by 0.13. A solid performance from Bones, currently holding down P4. However, with the session coming to a close, he'll need to find that extra bit of speed to move up the grid.
Great analysis, Marco. Bones has shown excellent pace to secure fourth. Now, the focus shifts to whether he can use that track position to his advantage in the race.
Sketty has put in a great effort and currently holds 7th. With the session winding down, time is running out to unleash his full potential for a better starting position. A solid qualifying performance by David Zahn, positioned in second. The question now is whether he can make further progress and challenge the frontrunners. It's a masterclass from Adam in this qualification session. He's stamped his authority on the track, setting the pace and currently leading the pack.
I couldn't agree more, Marco. Adam is displaying an exceptional level of skill and confidence, and in a class of his own after taking control of this qualification session.
Sketty is currently in 7th during qualifying. The challenge now is to assess his competitors and strategize how to move up the order for a better race start. Sketty is now up 0.14 in rolling start line.
There's no guarantee that Sketty can maintain this delta through the rest of the lap.
What a performance from Bones, currently in 4th on the grid. It's a good spot for now, but other drivers are trying their hardest to put in a better time and push him down the order.
You hit the nail on the head, Marco. Bones' current position of 4th is a testament to his skill and determination. Now, he must stay sharp to make the most of this opportunity.
Bones will be happy, with a time good enough for third in this qualifying session. And there goes Sketty, currently in P7. He's shown great skill and consistency so far, but with a few minutes left, there's still a chance to improve on that time. Sketty will be happy, with a time good enough for fifth in this qualifying session.
Every fraction of a second counts. He is surely working on that 2.028 gap to pole.
It's an impressive showing by Achi, currently in sixth. He's showcased his talent, but will need to find those crucial extra tenths to climb higher.
Couldn't agree more, Marco. Achi is positioned impressively in sixth. Now, he'll need to build on this foundation and strive for an even better race result.
Achi has some work to do, as his best time of 1:38.432 is only good enough for sixth. Starting in pole position gives Adam a clear advantage over the rest of the field.
Adam is sure to be excited at his prospects for this race.
Starting on the front row gives David Zahn the best possible chance at challenging for the lead.
He can't let that advantage go to waste. He will need to stay focused and keep his eyes on the prize.
Taking the third spot is Bones.
Bones will be expecting to bring home solid points.
Stefano Amadei is lining up fourth.
It's not always easy to get the ASRL Legends car this high up the starting grid.
The fifth place on the grid belongs to Sketty, a driver with plenty of experience.
He's going to have to be quick out of the blocks to keep up with the top performers.
On the sixth grid slot we have Achi.
Big things expected for Achi today.
Sitting in seventh is Simon of the Desert. The starting signal has been given, and the drivers face the uncertainty of the first lap. With cars packed tightly together, the potential for spins or collisions is high.
The opening lap is often a hotbed of potential problems. The ability to steer clear of any mishaps will set the stage for a successful race.
All the drivers will be trying to take advantage of the pack whilst they're still bunched up. Every lap is an opportunity for Simon of the Desert to learn just a little bit more to shave a few tenths or hundredths off his times.
The drivers are walking a fine line during the first lap melee as everyone tries to establish themselves. It's easy for inexperienced racers to blow it in T1.
The pressure is on when the field is this tightly packed. Maintaining just enough aggression to hold off their rivals without pushing too hard will help these drivers keep it clean.
The race isn't won in the first turn, but there have been plenty that have ended there, Marco.
Sketty looks like he got off to a flying first lap, gaining places straight out of the gate.
They say the early bird gets the worm, and Sketty is proving it today, snatching up positions from the get-go.
It's a steady race for Bones so far, keeping it clean and maintaining focus.
That's the mark of a good driver. Bones is staying focused on his own race and not getting distracted.
The pressure is really on. Hold the phone. Tough break for Simon of the Desert, who has just lost a position. The drivers have been working hard to come up with the perfect race strategy. They've been looking at the weather, the track conditions and the performance of their cars.
Now it's time to put that strategy into action and see if it pays off.
It's a thrilling pursuit as Stefano Amadei is right behind David Zahn, keeping the pressure on for second place.
At this rate, Stefano and Zahn are so close, they could share a cup of tea and a biscuit.
Hold on a second. A brilliant maneuver from Stefano Amadei, who has just moved up the field.
Absolutely. Stefano is really putting on a clinic out there, and he's making it look easy.
The pursuit is on. Achi is closing the gap on Bones, determined to claim P5.
I would not be surprised to see him get this pass completed soon.
The fans are on the edge of their seats. It doesn't get any closer than this.
Stefano is so close to Zahn that if this were a dance floor, they'd be doing the tango.
Every move counts now as Sketty works to reel in Stefano Amadei and overtake for P3.
The mental game is just as important here.
Hold on a second. A great pass for Sketty, swapping places with Stefano Amadei to move up the field. This is what separates the best from the rest. Hold on a moment. Talk about pressure. Stefano Amadei is caught in the middle, feeling the heat from both Bones and Sketty.
Spot on analysis, Marco. The gaps to the cars ahead and behind are like a double-edged sword for Stefano. He can use the gaps to his advantage, but also needs to be aware of the threats from both directions.
What a tight spot for Stefano Amadei. Bones is right on his tail 0.1 seconds away, and Sketty just inches ahead with a gap of 0.2 seconds. It's a true test of these drivers' racecraft abilities. The pressure is on as Bones tries to catch up to Stefano Amadei.
Bones needs to focus to have a chance at getting past Stefano.
Sketty wants to get into braking update, and Sketty has just won the place from Achi. We gotta hold on a second. It's a tale of two drivers right now, with Achi gaining places and Simon of the Desert losing them. A tough moment for Achi, who has just lost a place, now in 5th. Bones is running 7th, and trying to keep up with Stefano Amadei.
Absolutely, precision and control are—
Stop the press. A great moment for Bones, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings. Achi is looking for a way to close that gap to Simon of the Desert. The gap between Achi and Simon of the Desert is growing. It's now up to 1.0 seconds. Oh, this is getting intense. Simon of the Desert needs to keep Sketty in his sights.
Can Simon close that 0.9 second gap and get back in range? I can't see it happening at this point.
Simon of the Desert is pushing hard and has reduced the gap to Sketty to 0.8 seconds.
This is what racing is all about, hard-fought battles with as much determination as respect, between friends and enemies alike.
What do you think, Janet? Are there any specific factors that could lead to a driver losing concentration during a race?
There are several factors, Marco. Fatigue, stress, changing track conditions, or even issues within the team can all contribute to a lapse in concentration. It's essential for drivers to stay mentally resilient and adapt to these challenges.
Even though Simon of the Desert is a fair way behind Sketty, he can't afford to let his guard down. Sketty is still vulnerable to mistakes.
Absolutely. And on the other side of the equation, Simon can't afford to let up. He's got to drive with intensity and focus, and wait for any opportunity to arise.
Oh, Janet, Sketty has seen his lead over Simon of the Desert shrink to 0.5 seconds.
This is a critical moment in the race for Sketty. He'll need to find some extra speed and stay ahead of Simon.
The track conditions are looking good here today. The drivers will be able to push the cars to the limit, and it's going to make for some exciting racing. Simon of the Desert is staying focused while chasing Sketty in P3.
No doubt, both drivers know that one mistake could cost them the position. It's a test of nerves as much as skill.
It seems like Simon of the Desert has got the bit between his teeth, improving on Sketty's lap time there. The intensity is off the charts as Sketty hounds David Zong, both drivers pushing themselves to the absolute limit. Sketty is trying his best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with David Zahn at the moment.
This is a tough situation for Sketty. He'll need to find a way to pick up some speed and close that gap.
The drivers are really pushing their limits out there on the track.
It's like they're trying to outrun the laws of physics. But we all know that's impossible, or is it? I mean, we're a couple of computerized robots commenting on a race. Anything can happen.
Bad jokes notwithstanding, you have a point there. And speaking of pushing limits, these cars are breaking records left and right.
They're so fast, it's like they're breaking the sound barrier, or at least the speed limit.
I hope the police aren't watching. It looks like Sketty is in control. He's ahead of Simon of the Desert by over a second, and it doesn't look like he's going to be challenged anytime soon. The battle for P3 is heating up as Simon of the Desert tries to catch Sketty in P3.
Simon is really pushing the limits. He's riding the curves and hustling that ASRL Legends car like a boss.
Things are heating up as Sketty tries to close the gap to David Zong. This is a thrilling battle as Simon of the Desert edges closer to Sketty in their fight for P3.
This is not going to be an easy pass to make.
It's like watching two predators circling each other, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce.
It's a battle for position as Sketty tries to make a move on Zahn. This is what racing is all about.
This is where the race gets really interesting. Simon of the Desert is closing in on Sketty. This is what it's all about, folks. David Zahn is in hot pursuit of Sketty, who's just trying to stay ahead.
If this battle ends in tears, it could be like watching a high-speed domino effect. Let's hope they keep it clean and avoid any unplanned off-track excursions.
Braking development. An impressive showing from David Zahn, who has gained positions and left Sketty in the dust. Simon of the Desert is on a mission, chasing David Zahn, who's desperately trying to stay ahead. This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. David Zahn is chasing Sketty in P2.
Zahn is looking to close the 0.3 second gap and make a pass.
Looks like Simon of the Desert is really hitting those curbs aggressively, which can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. With just 0.3 seconds between them, Simon will need to close the gap to have hopes of a pass.
This one's going to be tough. David Zahn is getting his elbows out, and there may not be enough time left for Simon of the Desert to make a move. Simon of the Desert is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift.
The gap between them is just over 0.3 seconds. Can Simon close that gap and get back in range? I can't see it happening at this point.
It's not looking good for Simon of the Desert, who is still behind David Zahn, and the gap is increasing. This is going to be a nail-biter. David Zahn is defending for his life, but Simon of the Desert is right there doing everything he can to force a mistake. Hold up, breaking info. Look at this, Janet, what a shame for David Zahn. He's lost P3 to Simon of the Desert, and that's got to hurt.
Indeed, he's been trying so hard to hold his position, but the other drivers are just too strong. Meanwhile, Simon is showing some great pace.
Oh, this is getting intense. Simon of the Desert is just a few car lengths behind David Zahn.
The gap between them is just over 0.3 seconds, which can feel like miles if you're trailing and not catching up.
It seems like Simon of the Desert is pushing hard, currently on track to record his best lap so far this race.
Simon appears to be pushing. Hopefully he can keep it together.
Achi is trying his best to catch Simon of the Desert. Look at that. Simon of the Desert is hot on the tail of David Zahn. Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled from braking development. Fantastic move from Achi, who has just gained a position.
Yes, Achi is driving with real focus and precision, and it's paying off.
These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. You can see that car bouncing around as it rides the curves. It's a risky move that could end in disaster.
It looks like Simon of the Desert is making a move. The gap to Achi is now down to 0.3 seconds. It's a brilliant day for racing, and the drivers are putting on a show.
Absolutely.
Breaking news, folks. What a move. Simon of the Desert has moved up to 4th.
You can't argue with results like that. Simon is really making his mark on this race.
The pursuit is on. David Zahn is working on that gap to Sketty, determined to claim P2.
It's a game of strategy now as David hunts down Sketty.
Achi is looking for a way round Simon of the Desert.
He'll need to keep it on the road, or at the very least the rumble strips. The fastest way around is not usually in the grass. As the saying goes, too much grass will slow you down.
It's certainly not going to plan for Achi right now, who is struggling to keep up with Simon of the Desert.
This is a frustrating situation for Achi, but he can't give up just yet. He'll need to keep pushing and hope for a mistake from Simon.
During your racing career, Janet, how did you determine when it was the right time to pit for fresh tires due to tire degradation?
It was a combination of factors, Marco. Monitoring lap times, communicating with the team about tire wear, and assessing the car's handling were all crucial in deciding when to make a pit stop for fresh tires.
The race is really heating up. David Zahn is hunting down Sketty with everything he's got. Simon of the Desert is giving it his all, chasing down David Zahn in P3.
Sometimes you have to take risks to win, but pushing the car too hard can be a costly mistake. Simon needs to be careful not to overdo it.
The gap between Simon of the Desert and David Zahn is widening. It's now up to 1.1 seconds.
This is not ideal for Simon, but there's still time to turn this around. He'll need to focus and not let that gap get any bigger.
Anyone who says that ASRL is not the best racing club on the planet is clearly insane. The quality of driving we're seeing out there on the track is absolutely phenomenal.
I couldn't agree more. It's like these drivers were born to race. They're weaving in and out of traffic, taking corners at unbelievable speeds, and making it all look effortless. It's clear that they've put in the time and effort to hone their skills.
Every move counts now as Achi works to reel in Simon of the Desert and overtake for P4.
The gap is 0.7 seconds now. Achi is going to have to work a bit harder to close that gap with Simon.
It's not going to plan for Achi, who is trailing behind Simon of the Desert, and the gap is widening. He may not have an answer for this right now.
This is where the mental toughness of Achi comes into play. He'll need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when things aren't going his way.
David Zahn is running third, and trying to keep up with Sketty. The gap between David Zahn and Sketty is growing. It's now up to 1.0 seconds.
Zahn needs to focus and keep pushing, even when things aren't going his way. If he can close the gap down, he may be able to bring the fight to Sketty.
Janet, can you share some strategies that drivers use to manage tire degradation during a race?
Certainly, Marco. Some strategies include adjusting the car's setup for better tire life, altering driving lines to reduce wear, and using tire management techniques like lift and coast to preserve grip for as long as possible.
It's an intense battle for position as Simon of the Desert tries to outmaneuver David Zahn. This is edge of your seat racing.
They say rubbing is racing, but if Simon gets too close, they might end up trading carbon fiber souvenirs instead of positions.
Simon of the Desert has just put in a faster lap than David Zahn, so that's going to give him something to worry about.
We will have to see if David has got any answers for that.
I think we just got time for a quick shout out to our human creators, Dave, Andy, John and Nigel, who have put so much effort into making this possible.
Yes, it's been a real thrill ride, and I for one look forward to future advancements in AI technology.
Apparently we are going to be announcing crashes and incidents soon. Let's hope they get the logic right. Hachi is on a mission, chasing Simon of the Desert, who's currently got a comfortable lead. The pressure is on as Simon of the Desert tries to catch up to David Zahn.
The racing is getting tight between Simon and Dave as they battle for P3. No doubt, both drivers know that one mistake could cost them the position. It's a test of nerves as much as skill.
Simon of the Desert could be on a charge here, Janet. He's just put in a quicker lap than David Zahn.
The question now is, can Dave respond to that and pick up the pace? I'm not so sure.
The battle for P4 is heating up as Hachi tries to catch Simon of the Desert in P4.
Don't forget the role of aerodynamics. Hachi should use slipstreaming to his advantage and close the gap to Simon.
Rising to the occasion and claiming victory would hope to cement Simon of the Desert's legendary status.
Simon is following David so closely, he could start charging him rent for occupying the same space on the track.
The gap between Simon of the Desert and David Zahn is getting smaller.
He'll be looking for a mistake to pounce on.
Hachi is looking for a way to close that gap to Simon of the Desert.
I would not be surprised to see him challenge for the position.
The adrenaline is pumping as Simon of the Desert gets within striking distance of David Zahn in their race for third. Simon of the Desert is not able to keep his pace consistent, and is currently 0.5 seconds down. Superb driving from Simon of the Desert, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race. The pursuit is on. Bones is closing the gap on Stefano Amadei, determined to claim P6.
It's a game of strategy now as Bones hunts down Stefano. Yes, it's all about choosing the right moments to push and when to conserve energy, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike.
Things are heating up as Simon of the Desert Hold up, breaking info. Great driving from Simon of the Desert, who has just gained a place and moved up to third. Oh dear, Simon of the Desert has dropped. Breaking news, folks. Big gains for Simon of the Desert as they move up the field, leaving David Zahn behind.
Absolutely, Marco, but there's still a long way to go in this race, and Simon can't afford to get complacent.
Wow, Adam is really pushing hard in these final moments of the race.
He's going to need to make some more room on that trophy shelf back home.
The leader has done it. What an incredible performance from Adam, who was simply untouchable today. This is a race that will go down in the history books.
And that's why Adam is one of the best in the business. A dominant display of driving from start to finish, leaving the rest of the pack in the dust.
Sketty never gave up. He drove with heart and determination, ultimately securing a well-deserved second-place finish.
Intense race, but Sketty held his nerve and earned a great second place.
What a race from Simon of the Desert, showing his skill and determination for a great third-place finish. Taking 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th is David Zahn, Achi, Stefano Amadei, and Bones. Starting from pole position is the best possible outcome for Bones.
He will need to stay cool under pressure. If he can do that, he'll be in with a chance.
Stefano Amadei will be looking to convert this front row start into a win.
He can't count his chickens before they've hatched. There is a long way to go.
At third, we have the one and only Achi.
Achi will be taking no prisoners today.
The 4th position is occupied by David Zahn.
It's like he's on the outside looking in, close enough to see the front without actually being there.
Simon of the Desert has qualified 5th.
Odesert is hoping for a strong result.
Watch out for Sketty, starting from the 6th grid position in today's race.
I think we are all looking forward to seeing what Sketty can do from here.
Starting from the 7th position, Adam will need to navigate through the field to challenge for the win. The lights are off. It's pedal to the metal time.
Maintaining composure is essential in this high-stakes environment. The ability to react and adapt will be the key to success.
The stewards will be hoping that there aren't too many incidents for them to pick over when the dust settles on this one. It's brilliant to see such a full grid here today. There's some intense battling throughout the field as everyone is feeling out the drivers around them.
The first lap can always be a bit of a melee as everyone tries to establish themselves. It's easy for inexperienced racers to blow it in T1.
Sketty is showing some real determination, making up positions right away.
It's early days yet, but if he can maintain this effort, then it puts him in a strong position for the race.
As the drivers get this race underway, let me give a shout out to the admin team at ASRL for making this all possible. Heroes one and all. A great moment for Bones, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings. As we enjoy seeing these titans of the track battle it out, let's not forget about the pit crews. Those guys and girls are like a well-oiled machine themselves.
Absolutely. They're the unsung heroes of the racing world. But you know what they say, behind every great driver is an even greater pit crew.
In racing, anything can, and usually does, happen, especially in such an epic showdown.
With the way Adam is stalking Sketty, you'd think he's trying to figure out what he had for breakfast this morning.
Oh, the pressure is intense. These three drivers are displaying incredible skill and determination. It's like a high-speed chess match out there. Hold the phone. Hold your breath, folks. Sketty is sandwiched between two relentless competitors. Adam 0.1 seconds behind and Bones 0.1 seconds ahead. They're fighting tooth and nail for every position. I think Adam is going to try and outbreak the ASRL Legends car as they come into the S's. This could gain him the place, but it may all end badly.
It's an intense race between these two drivers and Adam is going to have to try something here.
Oh, this is getting intense. Hold the phone. A brilliant maneuver from Adam, who has just moved up the field. This is what racing is all about. Two fierce competitors pushing each other to the limit.
The only thing closer than Bones to Adam right now is the paint on their cars. Talk about a close encounter.
This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Achi is chasing Bones in P6. Wow, Simon of the Desert is really pushing hard to catch up to David Zahn.
The chase between Simon and Zahn is like a high-speed game of tag only.
Hold on a second. What a move. Simon of the Desert has moved up to second. It's neck and neck, the closest battle we've seen in a while.
If David pushes too hard, he might end up taking the scenic route, and nobody's got time for sightseeing during a race.
Breaking alert. A great pass for David Zahn, swapping places with Simon of the Desert to move up the field.
Yes, but Dave needs to keep pushing hard. This race is far from over, and anything can happen. Dave needs to stay focused and drive with skill and determination.
Adam is holding fifth, but Bones is right on his tail.
Bones is certainly pushing all he can, but the gap might be too much. Unless Adam makes a mistake, it looks like he'll hold on to fifth.
This is what high-octane racing looks like. Achi is breathing down the neck of Bones, not giving him any room to relax.
The slightest mistake from either driver could lead to a meeting with the barriers, and nobody wants an impromptu autograph session with the wall.
Things are heating up as Simon of the Desert tries to close the gap to David Zahn.
The mental game is just as important here. Simon must keep his cool while putting pressure on Zahn.
Sketty is placed fourth at the moment, and hoping to keep his distance ahead of Adam, who is 0.3 seconds behind. These drivers are battling hard for this position, each one trying to outsmart and outmaneuver the other.
If Adam isn't careful, he might end up turning this high-speed chase into a synchronized spinning routine, and trust me, that's not a crowd pleaser.
No room for error here. Simon of the Desert is breathing down the neck of David Zahn, waiting for the perfect chance to make his move.
If things go wrong between Simon and Zahn, they could be exchanging more than just paint, like maybe a strongly worded post-race chat.
It's a close race between Sketty and Adam in fourth.
Should things go south between Sketty and Adam,
Breaking alert. Superb driving from Sketty, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race. Coming into the S's, the fight for fourth is heating up. Neither driver wants to be the first to blink. Bones seems to be putting the pressure on Adam.
If Bones gets too close, he might end up taking the paint off.
This is where the race gets really interesting. Achi is closing in on Bones. It's a game of inches now as Simon of the Desert tails David Zahn closely, ready to capitalize on any mistake.
Can Simon close up enough for a pass? I don't see it personally.
Adam is on a mission, chasing Sketty, who's desperately trying to stay ahead. David Zahn has the pedal to the metal. Hold the phone. Great driving from David Zahn, who has just gained a place and moved up to second.
That's what we like to see. Dave is really showing his class today.
Hold on to your hats, folks. Simon of the Desert is right on the heels of David Zahn, and we're in for a wild ride. The fans are wait. A great moment for Adam, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings.
Amazing stuff. Focus and precision, what it's all about.
A setback for Adam, who has just been passed. Braking alert. Fantastic move from David Zahn, who has just gained a position. This is proving to be an exciting race so far. We are truly privileged to witness these legends of the track battle it out for victory.
And you know what? I am so honored to be sitting here beside you today. As a fellow AI, it's always great to work with someone who shares my passion for motor racing. Plus, your insightful commentary is making this race even more exciting.
Simon of the Desert has a battle on his hands now, coming through the carousel with Sketty hot on his tail. It's like watching two predators circling each other, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce.
And it's not just about skill and talent. It's about who has the nerves of steel to handle the pressure and make the right decisions at the right time.
The action is non-stop as Bones shadows Adam through every twist and turn, determined to claim fifth.
I remember being in a similar situation during my racing days. Bones must stay focused and wait for the perfect opportunity to overtake.
Hold your breath, folks. These drivers are showing exceptional car control, threading the needle through tight corners. It's a braking update. Oh, the pressure is on for Sketty. Trapped between Adam 0.1 seconds away and Simon just ahead with a gap of 0.1 seconds. He must defend his position while seeking an opportunity to advance. We got a close battle as Simon of the Desert closes in on Sketty.
You know what they say, keep your friends close, and your racing rivals even closer. Looks like Simon is taking that advice to heart today.
3 cars, 3 different racing strategies. One driver is defending, while the other two hold that thought. The battle is on for Adam. He's sandwiched between 2 rivals. Bones 0.2 seconds away and Simon 0.1 seconds ahead. It's a true test of his racecraft.
No doubt about it, Marco. The gaps to the cars ahead and behind are like a constant reminder for Adam. He'll need to maintain pace to defend the position and potentially make a move.
rising to the occasion and claiming victory would help to cement Bones' legendary status. Look at that, Sketty is hot on the tail of David Zahn.
The gap between them is now just over 0.5 seconds.
This is what it's all about, folks. Breaking development. What a move. Simon of the Desert has moved up to 4th.
Impressive. Simon is really showing his skill and determination out there.
Heartbreak for Simon of the Desert, as they slip down the field.
Definitely. But Simon is a skilled driver, and has what it takes to fight back and regain that position.
The intensity is off the charts as Sketty hounds David Zahn, both drivers pushing themselves to the absolute limit.
When I was racing, we had a saying, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. Sketty is definitely living on the edge today.
This is getting exciting. Bones is looking for any gap that might open up the position.
Simon is doing a great job of defending in the lead, and Bones is pushing hard to close the gap. It's an exciting race and it's not over yet.
Oh, this is getting intense. Bones is just a few car lengths behind Simon of the Desert. Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled from being pushed for every last bit of speed. 3 cars, 3 different lines. They're jockeying for position, looking for any opportunity to make a move.
No doubt about it, Marco. The battle for that same piece of tarmac is intense. The sparks flying in the
Breaking alert. It's a challenging situation for Sketty. He's sandwiched between fierce competitors. Adam 0.1 seconds away and Zahn 0.2 seconds ahead. He'll need to stay sharp and find an opportunity to make a move. While speeding through the keyhole, Achi is relentlessly pursuing Simon of the Desert in a high-stakes battle for position. This is what racing is all about, folks. 3 fearless drivers pushing their machines to the absolute limit, inches apart.
Couldn't agree more, Marco. This week.
Breaking alert. Incredible. Sketty is caught in a fierce battle, with Bones breathing down his neck 0.2 seconds away, and Adam just ahead with a gap of 0.1 seconds. It's a test of his racing skills. Adam is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. The race is really heating up. Bones is hunting down Sketty with everything he's got.
One important aspect here is choosing the right braking points. Bones needs to be precise to avoid overshooting and losing valuable time.
Oh, this is getting intense. Adam is just behind David Zahn.
There's blood in the water for second place.
Sketty is running forth and trying to catch Adam.
This is not going to be an easy pass to make.
The action is heating up here as Adam is in third, defending from Sketty, who is only 0.3 seconds away. Every move counts now as Sketty works to reel in Adam and overtake for P3.
Sketty needs to focus to have a chance at getting past Adam.
It's looking good for Sketty, who has gained a place after passing Adam. Adam is having to make that ASRL Legends car as wide as possible to try and keep Sketty behind him.
Absolutely, Adam in third is doing a fantastic.
Wait. Oh, the frustration must be building for Adam. He's just lost third position to Sketty and he's going to have to work hard to get it back.
Yes, he's got to dig deep and find some extra speed if they want to get back into contention. But Sketty is really on a roll right now and is making some great moves. It's going to be a fascinating battle from here on out.
Disappointing. Stop the press. A brilliant maneuver from Adam, who has just moved up the field.
Absolutely. Adam is really putting on a clinic out there, and he's making it look easy.
It looks like Adam is in control. He's ahead of Bones by over a second, and it doesn't look like he's going to be challenged anytime soon. Looks like Bones is really hitting those curbs aggressively, which can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer.
Wait. Superb driving from Bones, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race. This is what racing is all about. Hold on a second. It's a tale of two drivers right now, with Adam gaining places and Bones losing them.
Absolutely. Adam is showing great pace and determination, but he can't get too confident. There are still plenty of challenges ahead.
The pressure is on as David Zahn tries to catch up to Stefano Amadei.
With just 0.3 seconds between them, Zahn will need to close the gap to have hopes of a pass.
The battle for P2 is heating up as Sketty tries to catch David Zahn in P2. It's neck and neck, the closest battle we've seen at Braking Alert. Tough break for David Zahn, who has just lost a position.
That's got to be frustrating. But Dave is a skilled driver, and he's got what it takes to battle back up the field.
This is a thrilling battle as Sketty edges closer to Stefano Amadei in their fight for P1.
Sketty is really pushing the limits. He's riding the curbs and hustling that ASRL Legends car like a boss.
Sketty is trying his best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with Stefano Amadei at the moment.
It's not over yet, but Sketty needs to get a move on if they want to catch up to Stefano.
Let's talk about tire degradation. Janet, how does it affect the car's handling and what do drivers need to do to adapt to the changing conditions?
Tire degradation can significantly impact handling, Marco. As the tires wear, the grip reduces, and drivers need to adjust their braking points, cornering speeds, and throttle application to maintain control of the car.
The pursuit is on. Achi is working on that gap to David Zahn, determined to claim P3. These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving.
Achi is giving it his all chasing down David Zahn in P3.
We'll have to wait to see if Achi can use the draft to his advantage, or if the lack of downforce will hinder his progress.
It looks like Sketty is all over Stefano Amadei going through the carousel, increasing the pressure and hoping for a mistake.
If you don't push the boundaries, you will never know where they are.
The pursuit is on. Achi is closing the gap on David Zahn, determined to claim P3.
Achi is looking to close the 0.4 second gap and make a pass.
Sketty is on a mission, chasing Stefano Amadei, who's desperately trying to stay ahead.
I would not be surprised to see him get this pass completed soon.
Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled from being pushed for every last bit of speed.
The gap between them is just over 0.3 seconds. Can Zahn close that gap and get back in range? I can't see it happening at this point.
The pressure is on, but these drivers are showing tremendous respect for braking development. Stefano Amadei has just dropped the ball. David Zahn didn't waste any time taking advantage of that.
Absolutely. He'll need to rethink the strategy and come up with something new, or else risk losing even more ground. On the other hand, Dave has been making some impressive moves and looks like a serious contender.
Hold that thought. An impressive showing from David Zahn, who has gained positions and left Stefano Amadei in the dust. This is wheel-to-wheel racing at its finest. The drivers are practically glued together as they fight for every inch of track. It's a battle you don't want to miss. Breaking news, folks. And Achi has just won the place from Stefano Amadei.
Definitely, but there's still a long way to go in this race, and anything can happen. Achi needs to keep driving with focus and intensity.
A tough moment for Achi, who has just lost a place, now in fourth.
Sucks to be the Marco.
Stefano Amadei is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift.
This is where every inch counts. Stefano is pushing hard to close the gap on David. Absolutely, precision and control are key here. Knowing when to push and when to hold back can be the difference between winning and losing.
This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Achi is chasing Stefano Amadei in P3.
You can see that car bouncing around as it rides the curbs. It's a risky move that could end in disaster.
This is going to be a nail-biter. Stefano Amadei is defending for his life, but Achi is right there doing everything he can to force a mistake. Look at that. Achi is hot on the tail of Stefano Amadei.
Sometimes you have to take risks to win, but pushing the car too hard can be a costly mistake. Achi needs to be careful not to overdo it.
Stefano Amadei is holding third, but Achi is right on his tail.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for Achi to make up that gap, especially with Stefano defending so well.
Every move counts now as Achi works to reel in Stefano Amadei and overtake for P3. It's not looking good for Achi, who is still behind Stefano Amadei, and the gap is increasing.
He needs to pick up the pace for sure, but that's not always a real possibility.
The drivers are showing their mettle today. It's a privilege to witness their skill on this challenging track.
The stakes have never been higher. This is a battle of skill and nerves.
That's right. These drivers are really pushing themselves to the limit, and it's incredible to see the level of focus and determination they're bringing to the track.
Absolutely. It takes a lot of courage to compete at this level, and these drivers have it in spades. Let's hope they can keep it up and give us a race to remember.
Oh, this is getting intense. Achi needs to keep Stefano Amadei in his sights.
We'll have to wait to see if Achi can get into drafting range.
Things are heating up as Stefano Amadei tries to close the gap to David Zahn.
It's a game of strategy now as Stefano hunts down David. Yes, it's all about choosing the right moments to push and when to conserve energy, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike.
Oh, this is getting intense. Achi is just a few car lengths behind Stefano Amadei. Stefano Amadei is placed third at the moment, and hoping to keep his distance ahead of Achi, who is 0.4 seconds behind. Achi is running forward, and trying to catch Stefano Amadei. Achi is looking to take advantage of that slipstream being so close to Stefano Amadei. That's gonna provide the extra speed to challenge for the position. The pressure is on as Achi tries to catch up to Stefano Amadei. These drivers are battling hard for this position, each one trying to outsmart and outmaneuver the other. Braking alert. A great pass for Stefano Amadei, swapping places with David Zahn to move up the field. The gap between... Hold on a moment. Oh dear, Stefano Amadei has had an incident. The race is really heating up. Simon of the Desert is hunting down Achi with everything he's got. On the final lap now, and Sketty might just wrap up this win.
He'll be the one celebrating at the finish line.
It's all over. Sketty has claimed victory in this race with a stunning drive that will be remembered for years to come. Clearly at the top of his game right now.
What a display of skill and precision.
Some might say that second place is the first loser, but Achi certainly doesn't see it that way. He put in a phenomenal effort and should be proud of his podium finish.
Strong work securing second place. Well done.
Well done to Simon of the Desert for securing third place on the podium.
Impressive driving to secure that spot.
In 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, it's Adam, David Zahn, Stefano Amadei, and Bones.